It's wonderful to see you all back on campus. I hope you've had a great summer. I want to offer a warm welcome to our new faculty and staff. You have joined a very special community here, and I look forward to speaking with each and every one of you at our new faculty and staff reception this evening. As we begin another academic year, it's difficult to ignore all the challenges facing our world today. Global economic uncertainty, intolerance and violence, and a growing unwillingness to sacrifice or compromise for the greater good. The more I look at what's happening in our nation and around the globe, the more convinced I am that we are well focused on preparing students to go out into the world to make things better. I'm optimistic about the future because I believe in this generation of young people under our charge. And I count it as a blessing each day to have you as colleagues in creating this environment for learning. We are focused on creating the nation's preeminent engaged learning environment with academic programs of national stature by creating a vibrant, inclusive community on one of the nation's finest residential campuses, by being relentlessly focused on preparing global leaders and global citizens, and by protecting our reputation as a best value in higher education. It takes the talents of all faculty and staff working together to make this extraordinary university tick. I look forward to a great year ahead. If you've read our institutional priorities, all 41 of them, then you will have noticed we have not added a lot of new projects this year. We're in the third year of the Elon Commitment Strategic Plan, and we are focused on moving the plan forward and keeping our eye on the ball. This is a year of focus on a lot of excellent work already underway. We have a lot of important agenda items before us, and I will address many of them this morning. This year, we're undergoing reaccreditation with the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, an important internal and external evaluation process that we undertake every 10 years. We will host a team from SACS on campus next April. A key component of that visit will be for us to demonstrate that all members of our community understand our quality enhancement plan. This is the most important part of the reaccreditation process because it will involve campus-wide participation of faculty and staff. The QEP is a major undertaking that the university commits itself to over several years to make strides in a key aspect of campus life. After much deliberation and discussion last year, we chose writing across the university as our major area of focus. We selected writing because it's one of the vital skills that you gain at a liberal arts university. Learning to write well and think analytically are competencies that will set Elon graduates apart from their peers in the professional world. And at a time when texts and tweets and Facebook posts are mistaken for putting complex thoughts together, LOL exclamation point, we believe this is the right time to focus on such a foundational skill. The significant advances that we envision for the teaching of writing will involve all faculty and staff, all of us who engage with students on activities involving writing, whether these students work in academic advising, Belk Library, student government, the president's office, or in your department. We are very fortunate to have Professor Paul Anderson join us from Miami of Ohio as Elon's first director of writing across the university. Paul is one of the nation's top scholars in this discipline and will advance the quality of teaching and learning about writing at Elon. You'll hear more from Paul on the QEP later this morning. But Paul, please stand and receive the welcome of this community. I'd like to thank Paula Rosinski and Paula Patch from the Department of English for their excellent leadership in developing our QEP proposal following input from the entire campus community. I'd also like to thank Mary Wise and Helen Walton for their outstanding work preparing our comprehensive SACS reaccreditation report, one of the most significant documents we produce as a university community. And I understand as of last week, it tops 7,000 pages of material. God bless you both. Another important step we're taking this year involves the School of Law, which will seek membership in the Association of American Law Schools, the scholarly society of legal education. Securing AALS membership will be another important benchmark of quality for Elon Law. At a time when many in higher education are predicting the end of the bricks and mortar campus, Elon is staying true to its reputation as being an innovator and somewhat counter-trend by making an institutional commitment to being one of the best residential liberal arts universities in the country. The most important thing to understand is why we are doing this. Being a residential campus means that students' intellectual and personal development are woven seamlessly into the classroom and residential environments. The best colleges and universities are residential, and we should, as you've often heard me say, have our students living as close as possible to Belk Library. You may have noticed one of these new neighborhoods, the station at Mill Point, on your way to campus today. This new complex is designed to enable seniors to live as a cohort and to help them make the transition from college to the professional world. For example, career interns are in residence in the complex to help seniors with career advising. Following this address, you'll have the opportunity to tour this new apartment complex, which is just a short walk from here on Williamson. I hope by now that you've noticed that the Harper Center, which included Hardin Dining Hall and Moffett and Staley Residence Halls, has been torn down. Replacing 600 of our most outdated residence hall beds with state-of-the-art facilities demonstrates a serious financial commitment to building an outstanding residential campus. In place of Harper Center and the former Story Center will be the Global Neighborhood, our next major residential complex, which will house more than 1/3 of the freshman class, beginning with the class of 2017, that's the class we're recruiting right now, and sophomore, junior, and senior mentors. First-year students will take their GST 110 classes together in classrooms within the Global Neighborhood, and Elon faculty and visiting international scholars will live in residence. Our language houses, La Casa de Español, La Maison Française, La Casa Italiana, will relocate to the Global Neighborhood as well. Students will interact with faculty and staff in a 30,000 square foot lakeside building, which will include a great hall with seating for 1,500 people, which is slightly smaller than the floor of this gym. So 2 years from now, we could all be sitting in this new great hall for our opening gathering. Next to the Global Neighborhood is the Lakeside Dining Hall, our newest dining facility that will be completed in December and allow us to repurpose a significant amount of space for Mosley Center for student use. Creating a seamless living learning experience is critical to defining who we are as a university. I want to thank Nikki Turley, David Vandermost, Russ Gill, and many other faculty and staff working on this initiative, which is an integral component of the Elon Commitment Strategic Plan. Later, you'll hear from Vice President of Student Life and Dean of Students Smith Jackson and Associate Provost for Academic Affairs Connie Book, who will tell us more about our 7 residential neighborhoods and the 24/7 learning environment that we envision at Elon. For liberal arts in the 21st century, liberal arts universities, in the 21st century, It is no longer simply good enough to provide students with a great education. We must also help our students understand how to connect the valuable skills and practical knowledge they have gained from a liberal arts education and apply it to the world of work. During the past year, Elon has made significant progress in strengthening our career services program. Again, another of the key priorities of the Elon Commitment Strategic Plan. In this year's Bloomberg Businessweek rankings, Elon earned the #1 spot in the employer survey, which helped propel the Love School of Business to a top 50 national ranking. If you've not visited the Student Professional Development Center on the first floor of Mosley Center, I encourage you to do so. Tom Brinkley and his staff will be happy to show you around. There has never been a more pressing need for graduates of liberal arts universities, for men and women who can think critically and analytically, write well, digest complex material, take a global perspective, and develop comprehensive solutions. We have a responsibility to help students understand how inherently practical and relevant those skills are in the professional world. The best liberal arts universities are taking this idea head on, and Elon is one of them. Approximately 70% of our graduates are employed or seek employment following graduation, while 30% enroll in graduate, medical, law, or other professional schools. The aim of the Student Professional Development Center is primarily to help that 70% of students begin their career exploration as early as possible. College is about exploration, and we want students to spend time thoughtfully examining their options before settling on a plan. Securing internships is a vital part of most every student's professional development plan. We know that today internships are the gateways to building professional networks, to demonstrating what students can do, and to securing good jobs in a tough economy. The Student Professional Development Center helps leverage the best possible internship opportunities for our students, including working more closely with our alumni and parent networks to secure great internships and job placements for our students and alumni. For Elon to make its next major leap in reputation, we must consistently place graduates in the nation's top companies and graduate programs. To meet this important goal of the Elon commitment, we are building a premier program of career development and employer relations that prepare students to seize professional opportunities when they arise. As you know, Elon is widely recognized as a national leader in engaged learning. It's our brand, and it's what distinguishes us from our competition. In crafting the Elon Commitment Strategic Plan, we as a university community thought it was time to take this distinction to a higher level by envisioning a Center for Engaged Learning. Elon is uniquely positioned to lead the national conversation on engaged learning and innovative pedagogy, and can do so with this new national center. The Center for Engaged Learning will be an extension of the outstanding work that Peter Felton and many others are already doing in the Center for the Advancement of Teaching and Learning, which focuses on developing Elon faculty and staff and helping you remain on the cutting edge of innovative pedagogies. In June, 40 educators from around the world gathered here on campus to participate in an ongoing research seminar on writing hosted by CATL. One participant wrote to me later in the summer to compliment the wonderful work of seminar leader and English department faculty member Jesse Moore. He said, "Your university can be proud of its efforts and of the truly substantial impact that you are having on the development of high-quality scholarship in an area of research that must be of central concern for all of us in higher education at this moment." This is a terrific example of the national intellectual leadership that Elon will bring through the Center for Engaged Learning. The new center will focus on sharing best practices and scholarship on innovative pedagogies in higher education. This morning, Peter Felton will share with you news about a national conference that Elon will host in October 2013 at the Raleigh Convention Center. This will be one of the most significant early initiatives for the Center for Engaged Learning, another important piece of our strategic plan. At a time when keeping costs down is critical, we've had two major facilities practically drop in our laps, like manna from heaven. The Elon Homes for Children's campus and the Gerald L. Francis Center properties have provided us with cost-effective ways to expand the university. Together, these facilities comprise 30 acres and 225,000 square feet of space, which is the equivalent of 4 Corey business centers. That's a lot of space. Our preliminary thinking is that we'll use the Elon Homes property on South Campus for an expansion of Arts and Sciences program and for relocation of the Ellington Health and Counseling Center and the Campus Wellness program, which will significantly expand space for student and faculty and staff wellness. There are several buildings on the Elon Homes site which until recently housed the Elon School, a private high school. The main building, which many of you may know is the old Behringer building, is only 400 yards from the front door of Lindner Hall. So we believe it makes sense for arts and sciences programs to be located just a few minutes' walk from the academic village. The building where health services might be located is more than double the size of our current facility. We expect to make a decision on final plans for the Elon Homes property later in the fall. The Francis Center is home to our new School of Health Sciences, which includes the Doctor of Physical Therapy program and the new Master of Physician Assistant Studies program, which will enroll its first class of 38 students in January. Congratulations to Mark Archambault and his team in Physician Assistant Studies for the launch of what will be an exciting program that will fill an urgent need for skilled primary health care workers. These programs in health take up only 40% of the 145,000 square foot Francis Center. There's still much more space left to develop. For instance, Scott Studios will also be located in the Francis Center, giving performing arts a second black box theater and badly needed auxiliary rehearsal space. We're grateful to Elon parents Don and Ellen Scott for their lead gift for this project. Their Scott's son, Teddy, is a 2010 alumnus of Elon's music theater program. The Scott Center will also, a student activity center will also be housed at the Francis Center and will provide space, kind of a big rumpus room of sorts, for 1,500 students. We envision activities such as concerts, dinners, dances to be held in this space that students tell us they badly want and need. I'm happy to announce that our Parents' Council is leading the fundraising for this important project. You can tour the Elon Homes property as well as the Francis Center later this morning. The Board of Trustees, in just this past June, authorized us to begin fundraising campaigns for our next 2 major capital projects, expanded space for the School of Communications and a new admissions welcome center. Currently, we're working on the architectural selection for the School of Communications expansion. We are strongly considering siting the school's expansion on the historic quadrangle where the McEwen building is located. This would allow us to continue the tradition of having commencement under the oaks on that quadrangle and keep the energy of 1,200 communications majors on the historic campus. You'll hear more from me on the School of Communications expansion in the coming months. The new Admissions Welcome Center likely will be located adjacent to Mosley Center. This will give us a state-of-the-art building to welcome prospective students and their families. It will also free up considerable space in Moseley for student program use and enable us to bring together the financial planning and admissions teams under the same roof. The new admissions center will be an important part of our recruitment program. The other thing that is nice about that project is you will see the architect's vision of the Moseley parking lot turning into a grassy green quadrangle with a nice access over to the Corey Business Center. The preliminary design is quite lovely, and I'm anxious to show it to you. Socioeconomic diversity is one of the most important kinds of diversity that we seek at Elon. One of the advances that I'm most proud of is the fact that our first-generation college attendance has grown from 89 first-year students last year to 125 this year. That's about 9% of the incoming freshman class. Last year, the majority of our first-generation students had an average GPA of 3.09. We know these students can and do succeed at Elon, and with your help, they will soar to even greater heights. This year's class of first-generation students is a diverse group. Here's a quick snapshot. 55% are female, 45% male. They include African American, Hispanic, Asian, and white students. 34% are from North Carolina, where the class as a whole is about 20% from North Carolina. And the countries they represent include China, Colombia, Cuba, Germany, Mexico, Malawi, South Africa, Vietnam, and the West Indies. These students are here because our strategic plan calls on us to make an unprecedented commitment to diversity and global engagement, and because we believe that building a vibrant, inclusive campus will benefit the entire Elon community. These students are financially supported in part by scholarship gifts that you made to the annual faculty and staff campaign. Thank you. And because we made building the endowment for scholarships the #1 priority of the recent Ever Elon campaign, which raised more than $107 million. I'd like to thank Leon Williams and his staff in the Multicultural Center for helping to recruit some of our first-generation students, and for excellent work with our Watson and Elon Commitment Scholars, as well as our Ure, Susan, Giorgio, Hall, McMahon, and LaRose Scholars. Many first-generation students are recipient of these extraordinary scholarships that were made possible by some of Elon's most generous donors. On Move-In Day this Friday, we're hosting a new tradition, a luncheon for the parents of our first-generation students. We want to welcome them as their sons and daughters begin what I'm sure will be a transformative period in their lives. When you think of the Lumen Prize, Phi Beta Kappa, Beta Gamma Sigma, and other top honor societies, I hope you will think of these students. We want them to aspire to the highest levels of accomplishment and achievement at Elon, and to see no limits on their time and experiences here. This year we'll open the 6th and final pavilion in the academic village, the Newman Lumen Pavilion, which will be home to our Multi-Faith Center. Newman and lumen, as you know, are Latin words meaning spiritual light and intellectual light. These words serve as the university's motto and signify the highest purposes of an Elon education. I believe the Newman Lumen Pavilion is appropriately named and is an opportunity for Elon to show national leadership in promoting religious diversity and multi-faith dialogue. We will look forward to dedicating this magnificent facility this coming spring, and you'll hear more from Chaplain Jan Fuller this morning on the dedication and plans for the center. When I think of the Newman Lumen Pavilion and the wonderful work that will occur within its walls, I think of the words of Eboo Patel, an American Muslim who is founder and president of the Interfaith Youth Corps, and a member of President Obama's Advisory Council on Faith, faith-based neighborhood partnerships. Many of you will recall that we welcomed EBU along with Brian Williams, David Gergen, and other distinguished guests at Convocation for Honors in 2011. Mr. Patel reminds us that in the 21st century, religion will be either used to build bridges of cooperation or bombs of destruction. We're betting on those bridges of cooperation at Elon. I believe there is untold good to be done through this mission, but the work is not always going to be easy. And one more note about our commitment to diversity and inclusion. Professor Brooke Barnett has done an exceptional job leading our diversity and global engagement strategic initiative. This year, we'll conduct a search for an assistant or associate provost to lead this important work into the future. When we talk about building an inclusive community, we must remember our 26,000 alumni who represent Elon's future and should never be far from our minds. One of the top priorities of the Elon Commitment Plan is to build a more vibrant and comprehensive alumni network. The big question we are asking is, how many of our alumni are we substantially engaging in the life of the university? We want more alumni returning to campus to speak to classes, to mentor current students, to provide internships and hire graduates, to serve on university boards and councils, and of course to keep informed about their alma mater. We're seeing academic deans take a bigger leadership role in connecting with alumni from their schools. Elon College, the College of Arts and Sciences, and the School of Communications, in collaboration with our Alumni Engagement Office, have started their own Alumni Awards programs to recognize outstanding graduates. Dean David Cooper tells me the School of Education will give out its first Alumni Awards this year. Everyone, each and every one of us, has a role to play in building a more robust alumni network. This work begins when students enter for their first year and begin to learn what it means to be an Elon graduate. I encourage all of you to think of students as future alumni, to encourage them to stay connected to the university, and to work with the alumni engagement offices on ways to involve alumni on your work with students. Our job does not end when our students graduate. This year, we're going to create a new Office of Domestic Programs under the direction of the Isabella Cannon International Center to help prepare students to become globally ready leaders. We live in one of the most diverse and complex societies in the world, and we want to give students opportunities to practice global citizenship and encounter differences through domestic study experiences as well as international. Parents and alumni have already offered that a sophisticated domestic study program could be the next big thing that Elon is going to do to advance its reputation in engaged learning. Launching a domestic study program will help us achieve the Elon commitment goal of providing 100% access to a global study experience. We know already from our students who have participated in programs in New York and Los Angeles and Washington, D.C., that study and travel within the United States can be a powerful and transformative learning experience. At a time when many institutions are slashing budgets and are in retrenchment mode, Elon continues to enjoy a stable financial position, even in a recovering economy. Since 2006, our endowment has doubled and is now valued at approximately $145 million, which is quite an achievement considering the financial meltdown of 2008. Still, we lag far behind peer and aspirant institutions, and we must not take our foot off the gas towards reaching our new goal of tripling our endowment from present levels. Going forward, we expect moderate endowment growth through earnings, and to maintain slow admissions growth as we continue to be good stewards of existing resources. Because we continue to be in slow growth mode in terms of undergraduate student enrollment, and because we continue to predict only moderate tuition increases to keep college costs down, we will rely more heavily on private philanthropy and the generosity of our friends and donors to fund new ventures at Elon. For those of you who are new here, if you want to know something about university finances, every year we hold open budget forums during which we gather your feedback about how we should spend university resources for the upcoming year. The Chronicle of Higher Education recently reported on a major study that showed that 1/3 of colleges and universities in the United States were financially unsustainable. I'm pleased to report that Elon was listed among the most financially sound schools. Elon is in such an enviable position because we've always had a strategic plan, and we've followed it closely. Our financial practices are examined in thoughtful and sophisticated ways by our Board of Trustees. We've hired a great team of endowment managers to steward our resources. And we have one of the best CFOs in the country in Gerald Whittington. Even with all of this good news, we could not ignore a growing wave of concern about the rising cost of college tuition. During the past several years, we've instituted some of the lowest tuition increases in our history because we recognize that many of our families are still struggling to pay for college. I'm proud that Kiplinger's, Fisk, and other national guides consistently recognized Elon as a best value in higher education, a position that we must protect. To do that, we will work hard to double our need-based financial aid program, a very important priority in the Elon commitment. I wish you an exciting year ahead, one filled with inspiring and invigorating interactions with students and coworkers. What we do here matters. We change lives. I hope it warms your heart, as it does mine, to know that we are preparing young men and women to be forces for good in the world. We are one community of 1,200 educators and mentors and creators of an exceptional environment for learning. And again, I'm extraordinarily proud to call each and every one of you my colleague.